Hey everyone, YouTube, it's Giles here. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. There's a fair bit I want to talk about in this video, and I am paranoid that this might be potentially the most useless video I've ever made, and I'll explain why. So I want to talk about autistic burnout, or ADHD, and relations towards burning out. Which is something I've experienced past couple of days, and we'll talk about that. But the reason why I joke that the video is useless is because sometimes when I make these videos and I'm thinking about something that I'm experiencing that may have to do with autism or ADHD, I tend to sort of look up or read up other videos and stuff like that, just to kind of verify, because a lot of you guys know I'm undiagnosed, and just to sort of verify the association, verify what I'm talking about, verify what I'm feeling. I mean, ultimately, what verifies what you're feeling is how you're feeling. And I think the distinction between, burnout, specifically when it comes to socializing, I think what separates social burnout being related to autism from regular is how much you do or don't want to be socializing, if you know what I mean. Like not wanting to see people that you actually do want to see, which is it's a dreadful feeling. But as I tried to look up videos online to affirm what I'm going to be talking about, I couldn't even get started on the videos. Like, because if there's one thing that I could feel, validated the feeling, was that so many of the videos started off recording their testimony as during their burnout, like as in, because it's a difficult thing it's a hard thing to think about or to feel about when you're not in that state. So if you're going to find video logs of people talking about it, they're likely going to be experiencing it as they're video logging. And so as I'm looking up this stuff, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to sit there for like 20 minutes listening to somebody who feels exactly as I feel right now. Sometimes that can be comforting, but not this. I mean, there's no disrespect to any of them. They're very, they're great video loggers and content creators, but it's just like, oh my Lord, it's just sort of like, oh, it's hard enough just dealing with me at the moment, and then I have to watch somebody else who's feeling it just as difficultly. My God, how are we 3.5 minutes into this video, and I haven't even started what started it all. So I've been having quite a lot of burnout the past couple of days, but it's interesting because I would say it is off the back of a very specific day that I had. Recently I had a day where I met up with a bunch of friends and we played Dungeons and Dragons. And I like playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I like these friends of mine. But for whatever reason, we played from about 1 or 2 o'clock. I say 1 because that's when I left to go there. So that's sort of when socializing began, if you know what I mean. And the session ended about 8 o'clock. But there were some other bits and pieces to do, and I got back about 10 o'clock p.m. And just being out and being social for 9 hours straight will take the wind out of anybody. But for me in particular, it just fucked me up beyond all recognition. Like, I tried to resume business as usual the next day, and just nothing was working. And what was working was my brain. It was on absolute overdrive. And I think it's because I've said this before. I put a lot of effort into socializing. A lot of people sort of say that the one of the greatest difficulties with autism and ADHD is that you have the social discomfort of autism, and ADHD kind of helps you mask it. It's like you're two people, and it can make things quite difficult. There was a video I was watching the other day where they were sort of saying it's like you're two people, and you find that people that have ADHD can annoy your autistic side, and people who have autism can annoy your ADHD side. And one of the biggest difficulties if you have autism and ADHD is that people can, people can think of this. It can appear balanced out. Like you can appear like there's nothing up with you at all, because you're I guess your masking, as it were, is sort of reinforced by your ADHD, but that's still a hell of a lot of energy being spent there. And so I get through a day like that, and like I said, I it's difficult because I talking about this, I was worried that some of those, not that they do, but I was worried that some of those friends might see this video or something like that. And I certainly wouldn't want it to be taken the wrong way, because it's not really a problem. It's just the way things are, and I think the more conscious I am about it, the more I can prepare myself about it. I tried to get straight back to work on Sunday, and I think in hindsight, it's something that I should really sort of say to myself, you're probably not going to be able to work the day after if it's going to go on that long, and it's not one of those things where I think to myself, well, it could have just, could just not stay as long. But then I think, do I actually want to do that when I do actually enjoy it? There's all sorts of things to consider, and but the sort of the fallout from it is just something I wasn't prepared for. And it's sort of, I keep using this phrase autistic symphony and it's probably me minimizing obsessive compulsive disorder, but when you think about things being organized and being just so, and then you have a day that is exceptional, and you can get your head around the exception. I'm going to bed Friday night, and I'm thinking to myself, chances are Saturday's going to be a bit different. You probably still have your normal morning, but after 12 you're thinking about leaving at 1, and Lord knows how long that'll go on for. So you get your head around that, but then you think to yourself, and then the symphony can restart on Sunday. And if you don't start that day without the knowledge or preparation that it may not be as functional as you would hope it to be, it's like you're trying to start your symphony, but absolutely every last instrument is out of tune. And it sounds horrible. And if you're not paying attention to what's causing it, which I wasn't, it's one of those things where I really considered it a lot later on in the day than I should have done, that's bad, because I take that out on myself. I'm frustrated because I can't do things that I'm used to doing. But it became really, really apparent when I was doing aerobics in the evening, because my brain was not, it could not stop thinking. And the way I've gotten my head around the aerobics thing, I don't think I'll ever be the best at it, because I will pin it down to ADHD, honestly. And I sound like I'm joking about it, and I am joking. I laugh to ride it, but the fact is that when there's instructions being said, and and you're following one sequence to another, my brain is just thinking of other things. Number of times where I'm trying to focus as hard as I can, and I'll suddenly wonder what I'm doing for dinner that night, or I'll just start doing a weird dance because I'm already on my feet and I'm in a chipper mood or whatever, and I'm doing my weird dance, and oh my god, what's she saying that I should be doing now? I completely missed it, and that's all right. Like, I've gotten to the point where I laugh that off. I just sort of go, oh, that's me being me. It's like I said, it's somewhere between autism and ADHD, probably on the ADHD side. But I can put that to one side and not worry about it. And in fact, that's what's made aerobics really enjoyable, is really not worrying about that sort of thing, and just being sort of like, well, you're energetic, you are using your energy, you feel good at the end of it, and it's, you look forward to it, and all that sort of stuff. It's all good. So if I screw up or stumble or something like that, I just laugh about it and get it next time or whatever, or not, we'll just ride it. But on Sunday, I could not do anything. I could not do anything because I was just constantly, I can't even describe what I was thinking about. And it's weird because I would describe it, because people talk about autistic mind moving very quickly, and I know an outburst like that is in some ways it's comparable to stimming. It's a more destructive form of stimming because it's not something being physically it's like your brain isn't commanding yourself to do something, it's just hissing out like a bleeding radiator. And it's weird because I think I think when I socialize, I mask a lot, and I don't mean I'm fake when I socialize, but I like making jokes, I like making people laugh, and and so, especially when you're playing something like D&D, it is like a big charisma-gasm, and on a very sort of real scale. It's one of the reasons I like it so much. But I think there is a degree of performance when it comes to socializing, well. And again, that probably is just sounds very, very autistic, but that's how I feel about it. But again, it's no reason for me to dislike it. But I feel like when you do that, sort of there's two types of excess energy you're left with afterwards. Either you've been masking so heavily that the sort of reality side of you, the unguided side of you, is like champagne in a shaken bottle, and so the next day you just pop that cork and you go crazy. Or alternatively, it's like the dynamo for socializing. And I probably put this more on the ADHD side. The dynamo for socializing has been cranked so much, and it's moving at such a fucking velocity that the next day it's still going, and you have to wait a few days for it to peter out, and I think that's probably closer to what I was feeling on Sunday, like, but that's that's a difficult thing to swallow, because then you think to yourself, my God, like, so if I socialise for the latter half of a whole day, I have to take days to recover, and that doesn't feel too good. But I feel like there is an answer there somewhere, and I think a lot of it is perspective, and a lot of it is how you approach things. And there's a way to mix things around. And I will say, one of the difficult things that I think about is smoking, because smoking is a great way to break up socializing. That doesn't mean I'm thinking of smoking again, but it's just it makes me think about why I started smoking, and that's, do you know, I can't admit, I gotta admit, this isn't a pre-thought thought. This is a thought happening live right now in this video. I didn't actually think about that, because for those of you who don't know, come May, that'll be my 3rd year of not smoking. But before that, I was smoking for 20 years, and it's interesting thinking back to that and how, you know, you don't really know how you gravitate towards these things from a young age, and I think there's something to be said there, because a number of times I can remember being in close quarters with someone and needing a cigarette, and I'd especially appreciate it if they didn't like me smoking in the house. Because it meant I could go out of the house and step away from them just for the moment. And even if they did follow me, I'd still get a bit of fresh air in the ironic fresh air in the process. But you know, it's weird sort of thinking about that, because that's, you know, that's I used to get sort of overloaded in short bursts. But another thing I talked to you guys before about was my friends used to joke about me having Batman syndrome, because I'd just be out socialising and suddenly I'd want to leave. And the joke was that I'd seen the bat signal. They weren't mean about it, but it was. I think it was the way I did it was particularly autistic. You know, I'd just be like, anyway, I have to leave now. Bye, everyone. You know, just like that. Just, I know it's expired, so it's time to go. You know, but I don't know but it's weird because being aware of this, it's I think the thing that I've enjoyed since going down the whole rabbit hole of autism and ADHD is that it sort of kicked in a side of lateral thinking that it's like I don't know. I've always considered myself a good lateral thinker, and it feels like this massive like all the things that I'm trying to rearrange and reorganize and improve in some way in my life, factoring in these two elements suddenly make things more solvable and more adjustable and more like a good example is the comics I produce. You know, I sort of I've told you guys before, it's not safe for work stuff. If you want to find it, you will find it. Don't ask to see it. But I've been producing it for a long time now, and when you've got so many things to produce, I get tangled, and I've got thousands and thousands of unfinished projects and stuff like that. And right now, in light of the ADHD thing, I've sort of made the decision to, instead of trying to organise myself, because they say that is the hell for autism and ADHD is your autism tries to organise things. Your ADHD will not stick to it, and that is my perpetual hell. That has been the perpetual hell of Hellia. That's why they call me Hellia. but sort of in light of all of this, I just said, to sort of open the gates of hell. Stop trying to close them. Stop trying to organise yourself. And, you know, if you want to work fast and you work on bloody everything, you figure out a way to make that happen that doesn't impact your quality of life. And as a result, I've got this, I showed you a few days ago, I've got this board here. They're all written in code, so that, you know, There's nothing gratuitous written on there. But these are all numbers of ongoing projects, and how many images have been done on them. And whenever I touch base with a project, I try and do about five images, which means if my quota, which the average quota is 25 images, it just needs to be touched base with 5 times, and it's completed. And at the moment, I touch base with about 2 to 3 projects a day. So my production rate has gone right up. But it only takes me about an hour and a half to make those 5 images. So suddenly I'm working incredibly fast, but I've freed up a huge amount of time for myself. And this is all off the back of appreciating how fast my brain sort of works. But at the same time, all that freed up time, that's not for more work. I've got to understand that. You know, I do. I've been doing pretty well. That's why I'm playing the guitar more, and I've been doing my coins and playing more video games. I haven't played video games in years, and I think I'm going to get back to movies at some point because I've got a backlog of movies I need to watch. And of course, socialising, and it makes me feel more at ease socialising. It makes me, because a number of times where I'd be socialising, I'd just be thinking about what I've got to get on with and stuff like that, and I don't worry about that anymore because I understand what I can create in a short space of time, provided the assignment is small enough. And you know, you do it in increments, and I think, you know, there's a comparison to be made there between myself and socialising. That's why sort of 9 hours isn't too clever. But again, there needs to be a way around it, and you know, I'm sure I'll figure it out. I mean, the funny thing is, I talked about autism around the table. I just mentioned it just because it's my subject at the moment. You know what I mean? It has to be your subject for a while, especially when it's not undiagnosed. You know, but two of the guys piped up and were like, "Oh, that makes 3 of us." It turns out they were autistic as well. So, but that kind of, you know, it's weird because that it half surprised me and half didn't, because I think to myself, well, I liked you as soon as I saw you, you know, and that's turning out to be like the biggest clue on the planet now. But oh dear. But it's getting my head around stuff like that is it's kind of paramount at the moment. And it's like I said, it's not a bad thing, it's not a daunting thing, but it's just when you suddenly realise you've got something to chew on, you know, it kind of takes you back a bit. But like on Sunday when I was doing my workout, that was the first day that I stopped doing the workout halfway through, and that was a bit of a shock to me because I've been doing it like every day for like 4 weeks now. And it's the fact that not only did I stumble repeatedly because I could not focus for the life of me, but I'd stumbled so many times that, because it's aerobics and you kind of, you keep the pace up, you know, and I just literally wasn't keeping the pace up. I wasn't even stepping on the spot, you know. It's like my body had deactivated and was still trying to move. But luckily I crushed it today. It was good today, and it was all right yesterday. I did it yesterday. I completed it yesterday, and did not die or stop. But today I felt back in my bones today, so that was good. But and I'm glad that this subject was still on my head, because I wanted to make this video a few days ago, and instead I uploaded that guitar video, and that's why I chose to not say anything when I played that guitar. And I'm going to do more of those videos, by the way. I don't know if you liked it or not. Chances are, if I get better at the guitar, those videos will get better. So you can't say fairer than that. But yeah, I just this is a, you know, very uncoordinated sort of video. I'm just blancmanging onto the screen because it's not been pretty the past couple of days, but it's I think a lot of it is money in the bank, if you know what I mean. Like, I used to sort of say this when I got, stressed out when I was working at DWP and stuff like that. I used to say, like, if I ever got upset or if I blew a gasket over something, I'd always say it was money in the bank, because you like, falling apart can be a good thing, because when you come back together again, you can sort of be aware of that that vulnerability, so you can sort of plate it up a little bit, make sure it can't hurt you again. But yeah, I feel like the past few days I've been a bit fried, and a bit it's like the little things, like you go to the store and stuff, and just like everyone and everything is annoying you. that's when you. I mean, sometimes life is just life, but when you feel like you're extra sensitive and extra, I don't know. I don't like it, but it's something like stone by stone. I have to look at these things, and there's human nerves, and there's things that might be related towards spectrums, things that might be related towards disorders, but I like getting better every day. In case you haven't noticed, it's always kind of been my goal to get better every day, and I feel like since going through going down the rabbit hole of autism and ADHD, I feel like life is improving at such a speed. I feel like I've got such control over. It sounds weird. I've got control over things that I don't have control over. Like if something happens that I feel is out of my control, I feel like my ability to analyze and diagnose and to protect myself over that particular situation, it's like I have a better ability for dealing with it now, and that makes me feel like I'm evolving faster than I've ever evolved. So it's all good, but it just means that every now and then when my mind gets boggled, I get boggled in a different way, and I think back to what Sunday was like, and I really think that would have just been a time where I just go, without, if I didn't have the knowledge of the spectrum now, I think that would have just been one of the times in the past where I just go crazy and don't know why, and so although it's still unpleasant going through it, it's nice to just not go crazy and not know why for a change, and to actually have the ability to engage with that knackered behavior and see what's going on there. Because often when you have a tantrum, it's because you don't know what's going on, and it's hard to analyze a tantrum because you don't know what's going on. And it's what people talk about, the red mist descending. They talk about blacking out in a tantrum, and that's why, because it just entirely makes no sense to our heads. So it's nice that not only did I not have a tantrum, that's good, because I've talked about this before. I have had tantrums before. See the self-harm video. I have had tantrums before, and they can be very, very bad. But it's nice to have gone through a time where a tantrum would have happened, but didn't, and I have the ability to look at what caused me to feel that way. That to me just feels extremely positive. Knowing in the past how I've felt about myself, in contrast, I would rather be miserable than be violent towards myself. It's sort of like there is a lesser of two evils there, and you can work with one. You can work with misery, you can console it and deal with it and all that sort of stuff, but it's you can't sort of work with a sort of blackout rage. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. It feels like such a splurge, this video, but I don't know, I feel like I'm glad I did it, to be honest. But yes, I hope you guys are having a good day. By the way, I had a really good day today. Might as well just say, I just want to throw that in, just so you don't think I've just been, it's Sunday was crap, Monday was half crap. Today is Tuesday, and all the crap has been spent. But I think it might have gone on longer had I not have known what I know now. So, thanks very much, and I will talk to you guys very, very soon. See you later.